Okay, here we are finishing up our archetypes presentation that we started in class. To quickly review, we went over these things in class together. I'm going to just keep going through until we get to our types. Okay, so in talking in character archetypes, the most popular and famous one is the hero. You learned about it last year. Um, Heroes all share similar qualities, give or take a few. In general, they seem to follow the same pattern, and that's what makes them an archetype. So for a hero archetype, usually you have a mother who is in an unusual circumstance. She's possibly a single parent, maybe even a virgin, like in the case of Jesus. The circumstances of the birth are unusual, and sometimes an attempt is made at birth to kill the hero, which happens to Harry Potter. The hero is usually raised by foster parents. If you think about Superman and Spider-Man, uh, those heroes don't have parents that are present, and so they're always raised by somebody else. At some point, the hero is going to return to a kingdom to right wrongs. Look at the case of the Lion King for that one. They marry a princess, sometimes. They become king, sometimes. They meet a mysterious death or controversial death, and so on and so forth. In many cases, as you know, part of the hero's journey is to go to the underworld and come back, and sometimes their death has to do with that. They could possibly be dead or in a dead state and then return as alive later on. Okay, I will link these links as well for the initiate so you guys can watch these. It does not work for me to be filming this and show you the video at the same time. Okay, so another archetype that we have is the mentor. The mentor is the kind of character who is in place of the hero's parent. A lot of times they will help them and give them guidance along the way. Sometimes they give them help. If you remember the hero's journey, there's supernatural aid. Sometimes they give them items that will help them. And that's the case with Dumbledore, who gives Harry like the cloak of invisibility. Haymitch gets Katniss the things that she needs while she's playing the Hunger Games, and so on and so forth. They don't always have to be nurturing, like in the case of Haymitch, but oftentimes they are, and they help them learn hard lessons, like Rafiki from The Lion King. Okay, our next archetype is a group of characters called the hunting group of companions. Now, don't be thrown off by the name. Hunting group of companions does not mean that the group is actually going to go hunting, but in stories from the past, the archetype was, if there was a beast that needed to be killed, you go out into the forest to hunt it, and so on and so forth. So the name has not necessarily evolved with the idea. In the case of Harry Potter, you have Ron and Hermione. They stay with Harry Potter till the end, even when he's hunting Horcruxes. And then you've got Robin Hood and his merry men. The companions do anything to stay with the hero throughout. All right, and then you have loyal retainers, which is slightly different from the hunting group of companions because the loyal retainers aren't quite as involved. They're like servants, or if the hunting group of companions is like the starting team, the loyal retainers is like the B team, the backup team. So Dumbledore's army and Frodo's guys would all be loyal retainers in that sense. And then we have the friendly beast, a beast who is on the side of the hero and shows that nature sides most often with the forces of good. This character can sometimes be bad at first and then is kind of converted to the good side, but again, that's not always the case. In the case of Dobby, he's always been good, and then he feels like he owes Harry Potter a favor, and so he's always there to help Harry Potter. This next one is easy. It's the devil figure. Basically, it's going to be the bad guy. Um, some bad guys have redeeming qualities. The ones that we see here really don't. A lot of times they're focused on money, fame, power, or knowledge, and they offer these things to the hero and they say, join my side and, be evil with me. Look at what you can have. And that's a pretty common thing. They often tempt the hero to try and join their side. So we've got Voldemort, pretty evil, probably the embodiment of evil for the Harry Potter series. President Snow, Scar, and the Joker. The next character type we're looking at is the scapegoat, which is an animal or a human who is held responsible for the other's sins and is sometimes sacrificed. Oftentimes, though, once they are killed, they're more powerful than they dead than they were alive. So if you've ever read Lord of the Flies, Piggy would be a good example of that. Oh, I'm sorry, not Piggy, Simon. Simon is a good example of that. Okay, Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia, um, he gets killed, and so him being dead rallies the people together, and he comes back more powerful. The evil figure with a good heart is also called the shapeshifter. So it's an evil figure who eventually has either comes around to the good side, does something to redeem themselves, or has always been secretly good, but we just don't know it. The next archetype we have is the outcast, which is a figure who's banished from society in general, either because they are unjustly accused of something, they're misunderstood, and often they choose to banish themselves sometimes. They forsake society and don't want to be a part of it anymore once they're banished in general because they feel like they've been betrayed. Okay, next we have the Earth Mother, and in this case, sometimes you may see it referred to as the goddess. This is like the mentor, but more so in a female sense. Earth Mothers offer spiritual and emotional help and support to people. Usually, they have some sort of natural element. If you look at Grandma Willow from Pocahontas, she's actually part tree. So they're very earth based, often dressed in earth like elements, things like that. Last but not least, we have the Temptress, who is a beautiful female character and sometimes, but not always, brings about the hero's downfall because he's attracted to her. Sometimes he loves her, and then the Temptress, makes him choose between doing good or staying with her. Damsel in distress. It's a female character who needs the hero to rescue her from emotional or physical danger. In some cases, the damsel in distress can also be the temptress. All right, a couple more for you. We have the star-crossed lovers. This is almost more of a situational archetype where you have two characters who can't be together for whatever reason, and it often ends tragically that they try to be together and it just doesn't work out. Next, we have Creature of Nightmare, which is an animal or creature disfigured or mutated, monsters who are often antagonists in the story. Basically, any unnatural, gross looking, scary character who causes the main problem. All right, and then I just wanted to talk about one quick situational archetype before we talk about them again in class, because it is so rooted in the hero's identity. So we have a father-son conflict, which is a situational archetype where the father and the son are separated and they don't meet until the son is an adult or ever. Often the father and both parents are actually dead and the hero can't actually meet his parents. The only way he does is through some sort of supernatural intervention. So if you're thinking about The Lion King, Simba's dad reappears in the sky and says, you know what you need to do. You're my son, one true king. And then you see Harry Potter, his parents come back a couple times throughout the last few books of Harry Potter to give him some moral support when he needs it the most. This is an interesting concept because a lot of times growing up the hero doesn't know what his identity is and he doesn't know what the expectations are that he needs to live up to, and he doesn't feel like he can because his father, somebody he perceives as great, has not taught him. So a lot of times heroes really struggle with their identity. Not only are they kind of separate from society because they're special in some way, they're also separate because they don't know where their roots are. Okay, and that's the conclusion of our archetypes, our character archetypes program. And I will be going over situational, symbolic, and setting archetypes with you guys in our next class.